in my latest book, Climbing the Corporate Ladder, the very first principle that I tell people is to clarify what career and life success means to you. And I think that this is really, really, really an overlooked phenomenon, and it's one that's absolutely critical. You need to figure out how you define success for yourself. Let me give you some examples. I have a friend who recently retired as the chief HR officer for a Fortune 25 company, one of the 25 biggest companies in the world. And she decided early on that what she was going to do was join a company and work her way up the ranks, in this case through the HR ranks. And she always thought in the back of her mind that she wanted to be the chief HR officer by the time she retired. And she had decided that that was the important thing for her to do. And what that meant was she took assignments in different parts of the world. She traveled a lot. She was a single parent, so sometimes she had to make sure that she balanced her child care duties with her work. And sometimes she will even admit, and her son will even admit, that maybe she wasn't the best mom, but she realized that to become the chief HR officer for like a really, really large company, she was going to have to make some sacrifices in her personal life. So, according to her definition of success, she's very successful. Now, her son's very interesting because his mom was away a lot when he was growing up. He's decided that what he wants to have is a job that's reasonably secure in a good company, and he doesn't want to spend much more than 40 hours a week at it. He puts in the occasional extra time when he needs to. He's in IT, and the nature of that kind of job means that occasionally there are some emergencies that come up, but he tries to minimize that. For him, career success involves having a job where he makes enough money to be able to support his family in a comfortable manner. He's happy being an individual contributor. He likes the technical work. He doesn't necessarily want to manage people. When he and I spoke, he also told me, he says, I realize I'm not going to become like the chief information officer for my company. And that's okay, because the way he defines career success for himself is that he defines it that he wants to have a job that allows him to spend as much time as he possibly can with his family. He sees a job as a means to an end. His mother actually saw rising through the ranks as the end. And that's the kind of thinking that you need to do. You need to clarify for yourself what's important. So life is about trade-offs, and that's why I always tell people the very first step in being successful in your life and your career is figuring out what you want, because you need to figure out what you want, because that way you can define success for yourself. And it's okay if you want to be an individual contributor. It's okay if you don't want to move because you don't want to take your kids away from their friends and out of their school system. And that's fine. But you need to realize that there are some consequences that you're not going to be able to go up the ladder as quickly as you would like to. And so I think that that's a really important thing. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. If you really want to rise the ladder, you do have to be prepared to make some sacrifices in your personal life. And if you're not willing to make those, and I really think that that's fine, and actually I respect people who aren't willing to make those sacrifices, you have to realize that you may not go as far as you could if you were willing to make the sacrifices, put in the time and effort, and everything else that's necessary to move up the ladder.